Most people are using ChatGPT wrong. They go in there, they ask a question, it gives you a response, right? Maybe you're starting to really build up out of the masses and you use it for image generating or helping you write emails. But I really want to give you guys a few tips that are going to basically be used for everyday life that you can get significantly better by focusing on these tips. It'll give you better answers. It'll give you better ideas on other things that ChatGPT did that you didn't really think about that will save you a ton of time. And the reason I know this is because you'll see people, especially in the next few months or next few years, where their work is going to be way better. They're going to be more productive. Their responses seem to be way more professional. Their ideas are sharper. Their work is more detailed. So I'm going to have you use AI to think faster, to be smarter, and it's going to help you execute at speeds that make people question, how could you possibly be getting this kind of volume in? And honestly, the third tip is going to change everything for you guys. But first, let's jump right into the very first tip. And that is to challenge your own genius, to fight your ideas, to poke holes in things that you're coming up with. And the reason that I want to do this is because I think a lot of times as you brainstorm a good idea and you find a good idea, you're like, this is a good idea. This is really, really smart. I really like this. And then you just go with it. And so it's harder for you to go and hyper analyze well, this is a problem with that idea. And that's a problem with this idea. So using ChatGPT in this sense is really, really good. So for an example, one thing that you could do is say something along the lines of, hey, maybe you come up with a paper that you wrote, right? We'll just keep it simple. You came up with a paper and you'll say, I just received this paper from an employee of mine. It's very important to make sure that there's no issues with whatever you're writing about. So go through it and critique any issues with these values, right? So if it's the goal is to be honest, the goal is to be money motivated, and there's a few ideas that don't agree with that, what ChatGPT can do is say, this line doesn't make sense for that. This line doesn't make sense for that. And so the result is you're going to be able to really kind of double check. Same thing is if you're working on a contract, you can ask it, poke holes in the contract, figure out everything that's incorrect with it or that could be used as a loophole. And then if that's something that you're working on, you can then know the information. So I really like to do that where it just plays kind of a challenge. So especially if it helps you build an idea, then on the other side of the spectrum, you can then challenge all of those ideas. So for me, for YouTube script, I might write up a YouTube script, ChatGPT, help me expand on this idea, or I can't shorten this paragraph. How can I do so? And then once it does all that, you can say, this was a YouTube script that I used and my audience really didn't like it. I'm not sure why, but the retention was really low. Can you give me 5 or 7, or can you give me an understanding after analyzing the script why it didn't work? And once you start doing this, your ideas will improve so fast. But improving your thinking is literally only half of the equation for this video. Now let's make you faster. Tip number 2, stop typing everything. Now most people use ChatGPT as a search. They type something, they get an answer, done. But that is one of the slowest ways of doing it. Especially if you're typing out in an email, it's so much easier just to copy and paste the email from Outlook in there. But one way of going even faster than that is using voice mode. As you know, most people talk way faster than they can type. And usually you kind of think out more as you're kind of talking. It kind of processes in your brain versus typing. So I would recommend using voice mode. So one way I really like to use voice mode is simply to talk out things in the car. So I might say something along the lines of, hey, I had a really hard day at work and here were the problems that I had. I need to create a list of the things that I can control and do differently tomorrow so I don't have a day like this. Or a lot of things are going wrong in my life and I'm feeling very overwhelmed. So help me create a list of things that I can do today to eliminate some stress, things that I can do this month to eliminate stress, and things that I can't control at all that I need to stop thinking about. And so now it's going to be kind of like a therapist and or just to help you relieve some stress, right? And I think if you're watching this video, oftentimes you're either working really hard or you're some level of entrepreneur, or you're a business owner already, or you're just somebody who has a lot to do on their plate and needs to figure out how to balance time and how to get things done quicker. So you can use it for that, right? To organize your thoughts. The other way that you can use it that's really cool is if you get an email, you can then respond and have an email template ready to go. So if you're okay, okay, I just got this email and here's what I want to say in response. Create like a copy and paste template for the email, and then boom, as soon as you get home and you're done driving, you can just copy and send that email right away. If you know you need to plan your day for tomorrow, you can say, hey, this is my to-do list. Tomorrow I have this time to this time available. Please schedule these tasks out for me to do so I can copy and paste them and put them into my calendar. So once you do that though, you're going to start being able to use time most people don't have, right? If we know, oh, well, I have to drive, so I can't get anything done. Now that's time that's unlocked for you. But even if you speed everything up, there's still one mistake that's going to hold the majority of you back. And that's the exciting tip number 3. Don't just get the answer, you have to learn it. Now, this is what changes everything. You've probably heard like in life, maybe your teachers or other people are like, don't use a calculator. And it always felt pointless, especially as like time goes on, because it's like everyone has a calculator. So it's like, should you know all the math? And I definitely agree with that. I don't think you need that. But with ChatGPT, you don't want it just to answer all of your questions and you blindly just follow it forever, right? Same thing with the calculator. If you need to add up 2 + 2, you can. It's just to help with the really hard stuff. Because again, maybe you could figure it out. It'd just take a really long time. A calculator is way faster. So think of ChatGPT in the same way. Like use it and use it all the time, but understand what makes it work. So for example, when you say, hey, write me a YouTube script for a video about ChatGPT, it's going to come back and it's going to be like, this was a game changer, blah, blah, blah. It's always going to start really rough where you're not going to like it. But the thing is, what you can say is like, explain to me while making a YouTube script, why do you do certain things? Or like, why is a hook so important? And then what's going to happen is you're going to understand, well, a hook is important because it's what keeps the audience engaged. It's what makes your viewer feel interested because they're like, wait, oh, that's interesting. What's about to happen? So then, create an interesting hook that's really going to engage the viewer about why fishing is so fun in the winter, right? The more you ask it, like, how did you get to that answer? Why does this work? Explain this simply. So again, if it's really like a hard concept that you're trying to figure out at work, like coding, you could say, explain this to me like a 10-year-old, or explain this to me super slow for somebody who's never really understood it, and compare it to maybe I'm really good at video games. So then I could say like, explain it to me like a video game. And maybe if that's how it works better, then it's going to explain it to you in a way that you will really easily understand. It's super important to challenge the ideas, and then also to kind of ask, how did you get there? Or what are the most important parts of a YouTube script? And then it'll explain it to you. And so the next time you go to prompt it, you'll be way more efficient. All right, if you guys are enjoying the video, also be sure to subscribe, as I have a ton of videos just like this. Anyway, tip number 4 I have for you guys, and this is kind of like what really elevates the level of like your ability. So this is, how do you improve like your personal skills with ChatGPT? One of the most powerful ways to use ChatGPT is to treat it like a mentor. Think about how you improve in sports. At the beginning, you're learning the basics. For example, if we talk about soccer, the goal is just run and then try and kick the ball. Like, it's not working on your footwork. It's not working on positioning. It's not working on any of that. It's like, you got to just start with like, can you kick the ball? Can you like run around and stay on the field even, for example, right? If you're super young, it's like, just keep the kids on the field. But eventually you learn, okay, the importance of kicking the ball, and then kicking the ball towards the net, and then where to place the ball in the net, and then how to run faster, and blah, 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 blah. So it continues to work. But as you progress, you also get better coaches, which is the same idea, is that you can ask ChatGPT questions and it's going to pull answers. So it'll really teach you, like, I'm at this spot, I've been working on this trait for 60 hours. What should I start working on next? Or what's really important for a beginner to learn? So instead of trying to go in there blindly and figure out what's the next important thing to learn, ask ChatGPT, pretend to be a mentor for me in my soccer. I'm brand new to it and I have no idea where to even start. So give me some drills, give me some time frames on how often I should go out and practice, and let it be an example. And it's going to kind of continue to progress for you. Tip number 5, the edge doesn't last long. Every advantage works in the same way. Someone finds it early, they use it, they get ahead, and then everyone else slowly starts to catch on. So a simple example for this is Fortnite. Early on, building was huge. It was the biggest advantage you could have. If you could build yourself a little box in Fortnite and you could sit up at the top of that box and you could just wait for people that are running around, you would just easily kill them and you could pretty much win the game. It wasn't like you had to build crazy. It was just like, just build a wall, wall, build a staircase, and you're going to have a huge advantage. But slowly over time, the regular population caught up and then everyone started building. And what I'm really trying to reiterate here is that the advantage doesn't last long. So you have to be early. You have to try and figure out some way of being better, and then understanding that you need to then continue to adapt or you're going to get left behind, right? So if you start in Fortnite, figure out what the people are doing that are good. Well, if they're really good, and most people make content about it, so just figure out what are the things that they're doing. Okay, so if this live streamer is building, I should probably build, because eventually everyone's going to start building, and then eventually everyone's going to start doing this thing and this thing and this thing, and then eventually you're going to get left behind. So use ChatGPT, be efficient with it, because eventually it's not going to be about the advantages of using it. It's going to be you're forced to use this thing that you have no idea what you're doing with.